50% of the African Americans in the city have ancestry that comes from somewhere else. My family is from Saluda, South Carolina, and Sylvania, Georgia. And in looking at that, I was trying to decide how to best honor within my budget a couple of people. And in doing that, I looked at Janet McDaniels, and why she came to my attention is because in doing my research, I found in the Paterson's directory from 1887, there used to be it was called the Colored Children's, the Colored Children's Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. Now, it only appears in the Paterson directory 2 years, and from that point on, it was never seen. I never saw it. I couldn't find it anymore. And I do believe that it possibly got folded into the National Children's Association for the Association for the what is it? You know what I'm talking about. I can't even think of the name right now. So many names are going with that. But anyway, in doing that, I thought about that and doing some more research into social services. I realized that the Board of Health in Paterson, African Americans could only go on certain days of the week. You could only go certain days of the week in certain hours. So if you were sick or something, you were just in trouble. You know, there was nothing you could do as far as the city. And in doing that, I started looking at Janet McDaniels and her work in social services. And that is what came to my mind. In lieu of the fact that she is from Alabama. And in that Alabama thing is what really drew her to my attention because of the fact that how she came here and how much time she has devoted into Paterson's social service industry. So without further, I'll do them both at the same time. Then the second person I was looking at was Reverend Mimms, Councilman Mimms. And in talking to her, her family has a very interesting story that has to do with the Great Migration and the pull and push factor. The pull and push factor deals with this. During I'm sorry, because I got a whole lot to say, but anyway, the Great Migration really starts in 3 phases. The first phase begins with the Morrell land grants, where you have all the A&T colleges. So around 1870, you see the first major migration of African Americans moving north with college educations from the A&T colleges, Hampton, Tuskegee, all those colleges. Then the next migration is 1910. And in 1910, 1915, you see, and again, it is the pull factor was during the First World War, the United States government halted they halted immigration. They halted immigration because they thought there might be spies coming into this country. And what the pull factor was, the government started enlisting help from the South, from African Americans to come work in the factories. That was the pull factor. The push factor was the Jim Crow era that pushed African Americans. They wanted to get out of there. Now, get out wherever they were living, they wanted to move. And with that push and pull factor, which is really a consequence of her family, Reverend Mimms, her grandfather owned a farm in Lake City, South Carolina. And the city is kind of famous in its own right. The first African-American astronaut is from Lake City. It is also a place that was very prestigious in strawberries. Now, he owned a farm, and the push factor was that, the pull factor was all the laborers left and came to Paterson. Now, they didn't come to Paterson, they came north, but they left. That was the pull factor. Industry pulled them, and in the result of that, he had to sell his farm. But as a result, the direct result of that push-pull factor, we have his granddaughter who has done so well. And if you were to read her resume, you would most certainly be, or resume or bio, you would most certainly be impressed. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to Mr. McDaniels in representing his mom and Reverend Councilwoman Mimms, their own U.S. postal stamp, and I must say this is not an S&H green stamp. It is real. It's legitimate. It is legitimate, and you can put it on. It's a 55-cent stamp, and you can use it anytime she chooses, or she can just hold on to it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present it to her. Now, for those who would like to celebrate them for Black History Month, reach out to them, and they will let me know. We'll do what we can do to get you a stamp. Of course, there's a cost. It's not free. There's a cost involved. Now, folks,
it gives me great pleasure to fill in for my mother on this joyous occasion. This is indeed a joyous occasion, but for our family, it's also a difficult and trying time. You guys know that my mom wouldn't miss this for the world. Unfortunately, 2 days ago, her big sister passed away, and she is with the family in Alabama. Our family hails from Alabama. We came here when I was 4 years old, and looking at me, you can tell that's been many, many years ago. So we've been here for a long time. Our mother instilled in us the honor and the responsibility of learning about your community, being true to who you are, your African roots, working hard in the community. When I was just a little boy, I would see my mom go out to various board meetings. We grew up in the Inca houses in the 4th Ward on Fulton Place. And I would see her participating in the board and going to meetings and dealing with everything involving that facility where we lived at. And we didn't understand why everyone else wasn't going to these meetings. Everyone else didn't have people coming to their homes to deal with problems like domestic violence, problems like homelessness and things of that nature. So that example was instilled in all of us, and I'm so happy that my daughter Kayla McDaniel could be here this afternoon to see her mom, her grandmother, received such a prestigious honor in having an official U.S. postage stamp in her image. So I just want to thank you on her behalf. She wanted me to give special thanks to her good friends that came out, like Chief Moody, like Arnez Crockett, like the people from the Passaic County Board of Social Services, where she's worked for, I'm gonna say, don't quote me on it, 33, 34 years or so, and also the people on the Paterson Task Force, where she serves as the president of that particular board. Thank you.
To God be the glory for the great things that he is doing, that he has done, and that he's about to do. Because it's not that I do it in my own strength, but I do it by the glory and the strength and the power of God. And so I'm just really excited and very humbled by this opportunity. And I'm so grateful that Jimmy Richardson reached out to me some months ago. And I kept a secret from a lot of people. I didn't tell anybody. I gave my information in and did what he required and met him and left some stuff. But it is just an honor. And when you look back to all the individuals that have already been previously honored, and you look at the lineage and the trailblazers like Pastor Linda Stansel, who's in the back of the room, to be on the shoulders of these great giants like Assemblywoman Elise Evans and Councilwoman Vera Ames and Marty Barnes, and I believe Pastor Clayton received the stamp, and so many people have received the stamp. This is huge. It's a huge opportunity. And one thing that God has taught me is when you humble yourself in the sight of the Almighty God, he will exalt you in due time. And so you don't have to promote yourself. All you have to do is keep on working. And as you keep on working, people will tell your story, people will celebrate you, and they will applaud you. And I am really humbled and appreciative. And I thank my council colleagues my share of the pink walls, Councilwoman Cotton, and my Councilman Velez, who's right across the hall. I thank them. They call us the Three Amigos. But I thank them for coming. I actually extended this out to everyone. I didn't just, put it, but everyone was invited to come. And so for those that did come out, thank you for coming. I think it's amazing when someone that is born and raised in Paterson from the 4th Ward is able to do great things in our community, that we should be there to partake in the amazing things. So I thank my godmother, Ms. Matthews, and my other mother, Ms. Foxworth, Mama Francis, and so many others, and my wonderful gifts that I received on today. And I don't want to start calling names because I'll miss somebody, but thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you, Chief Mimms.